The energy of sunlight arriving at the upper boundary of the atmosphere across the entire wavelength range averages 700 kcal per square centimeter per day, and only about 55 kcal per square centimeter per year of the energy from the visible part of the spectrum reaches the Earth's surface and can be utilized by organisms. The ability to accumulate the energy of sunlight in organic matter is called the productivity of living organisms. Even under optimal conditions, plants on land can consume only a few percent of the visible solar radiation falling on a given area, and the efficiency for the entire land surface is 0.1–0.3%. Three main groups of organisms participate in the cycle of living matter: producers, consumers, and decomposers. Producers are green plants capable of photosynthesis, as well as bacteria that carry out chemosynthesis. They are the ones that produce primary production. Consumers are organisms that consume primary or secondary production, for example, ready-made organic matter, and convert it into other forms of organic substances. Decomposers are organisms that live off dead organic matter and break it down into mineral substances. In turn, consumers are divided into three subgroups. First-order consumers, phytophags, herbivorous organisms that consume the organic matter supplied by plants. Second-order consumers, predators, and parasites that feed on herbivorous organisms. Third-order consumers, predators and parasites that feed on carnivorous animals and parasites. Representatives of the last two groups are called zoophags. This division is to some extent conditional. The Earth is also home to many omnivorous animals, euryphags, which feed on both plant and animal food. Furthermore, soil animals, according to the Russian academician Zhilarov, not only convert organic matter from one form to another, but also release mineral to organic readily mineralizable substances. For example, they act as both consumers and, to some extent, decomposers. Thus, the division of organisms into three groups corresponds to their role in the transformation of matter and the cycle of elements in nature. Starting trophic chains, producers create primary production. Then consumers and decomposers play their roles, creating several levels of consumption. The metabolism that occurs in nature is only possible with the participation of representatives of all three groups of organisms. In the first quarter of the 20th century, the Russian botanist and forest scientist Sukhachov introduced and developed the concept of biogeosynosis, a collection of plants, animals, fungi, microorganisms, soil, and atmosphere over a homogeneous land area. The English botanist Tansley in 1935 formulated the concept of the ecosystem, which is very close to the definition of biogeosynosis. Ecosystems are formed by living organisms that are interconnected with each other and with their habitat. These communities of living organisms exchange matter and energy. Each ecosystem produces biological production, the mass of plants, fruits, and animal biomass. The productivity of an ecosystem is measured by the amount of organic matter created per unit of time per unit area. Primary biological production is produced by plants during photosynthesis. Gross primary production refers to the total production of photosynthesis. It is determined by the efficiency of photosynthesis and depends on the area of photosynthetic organs and the duration of the active photosynthesis period. Net primary production refers to the matter that remains after the expenditure of matter on respiration and the release of CO2, H2O, and O2 during plant life processes. Net primary production is most plants accounts for approximately half of the total photosynthesis production. The term secondary production applies to the biomass created by heterotrophs. Biomass refers to the total mass of organisms present in an ecosystem at the time of observation, accounted for per unit area. It can be expressed in units of mass of energy. For example, biomass in forest communities is large because woody plants live long and accumulate it year after year. The biological production is usually 30 or 50 times smaller. The biomass reserve in herbaceous communities is only 3-5 times greater compared to their biological production. The American ecologist Odom in the mid-20th century determined the global distribution of primary production as follows. Biological productivity is very low in the ocean depths and deserts. In oceans, the producing organisms are algae, while in deserts there are higher plants. Since the supply of nutrients is limited in oceans and water is limited in deserts, both the ocean depths and arid territories are classified as areas with low biological productivity. Low productivity characterizes plant communities of marine littorals and poorly cultivated lands. Significant accumulations of biomass on land are observed in forests. Temperate forests are characterized by an average daily productivity of 5 to 10 grams per square meter. The ability to produce from 10 to 20 grams per square meter per day is possessed by humid tropical forests, intensively used agricultural lands, floodplain communities, river estuaries, and coral reefs. The maximum possible production of an ecosystem apparently cannot exceed 25 grams per square meter per day.